Good day, welcome to Do It Now. We're doing No Rest for the Wicked, and our character Ladro, who's now level 20, and dexterity 44. This is another example of an episode where I unfortunately lost the original audio, so I'm having to do a little voiceover here. So you get a little bit more common or more recent version of my information beyond what was happening in the game at the time. So we're coming back in. We're here in Lowland Meadows at the Windmill Whisper. Just to show you that we've covered all of Glades, which is the first area that you start in. And we've gone up here to the Nameless Pass and covered all of that area, which is the second main zone. And then, of course, we have Sacrament. And we just did the initial area here in Lowland Meadows where the windmill and a bit of the top of the tram is. So for this particular episode, we're going to expand our knowledge in Lowland Meadows, especially get some shortcuts, do the farm, and do a couple of the initial glades. I started out just sort of leaving the character where they were from the previous episode, if you watched episode 11, so you'll have some context as to why we're here and why this is the equipment we have. So that means I'm starting out with a bit of a gear check just to familiarize myself with where I'm at. These plants and herbs and things, always a great idea to pick up all of the time. You will keep needing them to make food, which you use in combat to bring your health back up. Same with the trees. The birch needs so much of the 3 varieties of trees in order to build everything in the town initially and level up all of the marketplace shops, tier 1, 2, and 3, and they go through tier 1, 2, and 3 of all the materials. So in the case of wood, it starts at pine and then spruce and then birch. In the case of metals, you start at copper and then iron and then silver. And you can actually see a silver node at the top of the screen right now. It's kind of a swirly looking thing just beyond that stag that I took a shot at. So I'm using this Siren's Call bow with this purely dexterity character. And as you can see, when that bow is out, there's 4 different runes or rhombuses just above my weapon thing on the bottom left. And I can shoot with an X a fire shot, with a Y an ice shot, with a B, I believe, a plague shot, and with an A lightning shot. And then I'm wearing a lightning quiver, which you can see where it says left bumper. You can see the lightning quiver, and I can switch that out because I also have a frost one as well. But there's a really good elemental combination that can be done with you stack up fire attribute on someone and then hit them with lightning, and they call that overcharge. And together it makes a bigger, splashier AoE, and it spreads to other people, and it can really send them flying. So see how that portcullis, it's called? That gate that has holes through it? That's a portcullis. So a portcullis is still down. So a big part of this episode is that we're going to open that portcullis up. See the red 130? That means that the mob healed partway through, took a potion or food or something. Throwing Molotovs with big splashy damage. And those mobs have pretty big reach, because they have one super long limb or something. Just gonna pull this up real quick. No, that's some Reddit post. Here we are. That's what I was looking for. So, Overload, it's called, is lightning plus fire. It says it's going to deal damage to a burned target, which create a powerful lightning AoE. There's also an effect called Searing, which is fire first and then plague damage. So I can do that with this bow also by shooting fire then plague. And dealing fire damage to an infected target will increase the fire damage taken. So you could shoot Plague first to stack that up, and then fire to make the fire hit harder, and then shoot lightning to do the overload to have the big splash. Also, if you shoot Plague on someone who's already bleeding, there's an effect called Fester. And dealing Plague damage to a bleeding target will reduce the enemy's build-up recovery speed. So it prevents them from doing recoveries quickly. So those are the 3 kind of known ones. Damage types, there is Fire, Ice, Lightning, Plague, and then Physical. But bleed effects are kind of separate. Physical damage can cause bleeds, but not all physical causes bleeds. You kind of need a thing, a little attribute or something to give it that bleed. So if I put a bleed, let's say gem, on this Siren's Call bow, then I could stack a bleed, hit them with Plague to create Fester, and then hit the Plague person with fire to create Searing, and then hit the fired person with lightning to create Overload. So you can really build and synergize these abilities together. So I'm clearing these up. I'm going to go around this little loop to get up where I'm trying to get. We did part of this before when we first cleared over to the top of the tram. But we need to go through that again to get back to the area where we're going to open that portcullis. So you can see if they're first on fire, and then I use the lightning. I'm a little better with the bow at this point. So fire is stacked up on them now. Lightning, big splashy AoE. That purple stuff in the ground that they threw, really nasty effect. Ticks for like 60 or 80 damage, and pretty often. You gotta get off that right away, or you're really gonna be in trouble. And I find that some of the status effects that they throw down can really linger for quite some time, and make it pretty challenging. It creates a lot of area denial that makes it hard to move around. Lacquered bow is the other option I have that has a few different abilities, but I'm mostly going to be using this Siren's Call because it just creates so much versatility with those 20 focus elemental shots, especially when you watch out of combat. Focus is the yellow bar above my health bar, and you watch out of combat, it ticks 94, 95, 104, 105. So because it's building up like that, and I have 160 with the buffs that I currently have on, 20 shots and 160 means I have 8 shots before I run out of focus if I walk into a cold combat from those, which is huge. Because a lot of special abilities, or like what's called rune moves, they cost like 96 or 120 or something each. So it's like a builder spender setup, where with this bow I can spend 20 each time, and I can get a lot of shots down range. So the more fire that you build up on them, the more the fire ticks, and the more fire they have, the bigger that overload hits when you do hit them with the lightning for the overload. So you see that one I hit with 2 fire shots, and then hit the overload, and he just went flying. And that was enough to kill him. So we've been back here before. This is the other sort of spinning windmill with the tram at the top. And I talked last time about the importance of parking the tram at the bottom so that you can come up from Orban Glades to Lowland Meadows easily. We can cycle around the back, but I find it's good to clear things in advance so they don't add on later. So I'm stepping down a little further than I need to, strictly. And I'm trying to manipulate the terrain to my advantage to make sure that I am, only fighting them one at a time if I can. So for me, if I'm already on fire and then they hit me with another of those Molotovs, it does like a ooh sound, and my guy drops down to one knee and has like a bit of a pause. I'm not sure what the sort of name of that is. So you can see there the tram has gone all the way down to Orban Glades, and it's waiting there. And the reason for that is up here, you'll see there's a handle that can call the tram, whereas if you're down there, there's nothing that can call it. So I find it best to leave the tram in the lower position. So if you find yourself in Orban Glades, you can take the tram up here, because there's a lever on the tram. But if you're already up here and you don't have the tram, you can use the lever to call it. So it gives you the most transportation options from every direction. There's some lovely, majestic creatures, but they're also full of quality meat, stag helm, all these different things. And that's the specific creature parts are what allow you to do weapon upgrades. And obviously the meat is there for cooking. I love these vistas, and you get to see the, you know, multiple perspective roving 2.5D kind of concept going on. Very cool, beautiful art style. Yeah, hidden underneath here. There's lots of hidden little spaces to go and explore. Like this farm, for example, you can go in that farmhouse, and there's some little chests and bonuses and things that respawn in there from time to time. But this area right here, look at all these tomatoes on this side. Huge collection of food. And then over here, potato, lithops roots, dracena roots, blueberries, like just these farm patches. There's one of those that I've shown you in the Nameless Pass, and there's some in some other areas as well, where there's just like a gathering, like a sort of farm. But this is another good example of it, where there's just a ton of food you can collect really easily. Look far left of the screen, you see that big piece of wood on the left? That's actually a drawbridge. That's another shortcut that we'll show probably in a few episodes. You have to get pretty far before you get access to that. This guy popping out of the ground to attack us. Gotta know a little bit more about some of these character names, but they can really hurt. Oh, I'm just taking that on the chin here. I gotta get a little snack in. There we go. Oh, but see, they were burning when they went under, and it was actually enough that the ticks just carried on. I love that concept of a mob being sort of dead, but not quite knowing it yet. You just gotta wait, and it finishes off. So there's a better view of that drawbridge we need to kick down when we get around to the lumber mill. We'll get that from there. Well, here we go. We're going to go inside and show you... you know, I actually didn't see the inside of this and didn't even try to go in for quite some time. But there's just a cool view of how you can set up one of these houses. And there's an upper floor, which is, I think, decorated quite nicely. There's a couple plants you can pick up. Nothing too big. There's another one by the window there. See if I... Yeah, there we go. I noticed it. Good stuff. That's everything on this floor. I didn't try sleeping in those beds. It doesn't seem to give you a tooltip for. But this little side room is going to have a small chest. So worth popping in from time to time. Okay, so a big thing we're going to do here is try to unlock some major shortcuts. This game is full of these. And before you do unlock the shortcut, there's just such a circuitous, circular routes to get everywhere that it can really take a lot of time. So I'm having a peek. I'm doing one of the those two sacks with the white powder coming out of those are repair powders. They can fix your tools. So you see I have a yellow just at the bottom left. My tools are yellow still. That's because they're just taking some hits from me running around and harvesting. I find that fishing seems to be the one that wears out the tool faster than any other, which is curious. But that seems to be the one that I... So, there's that purple stuff again. So I'm just stacking up some dots, or damage over time with the fire, and now using the overload with the lightning to finish the job. This guy's healing for 130, which is unfortunate. So you gotta kind of stick to one of them and deal with them before you get to the next, called Focus Fire. Usually a good strategy. So one's down, now I can focus my attention on the last one. He's burning. I throw that lightning, stack it up. My regular lightning shots, those spread 4-prong lightning shots, those are actually just a basic X press. That's my basic attack. And they can actually charge up focus besides just waiting in time. So it's always a dance between how much stamina do you have and how much focus do you have. So this is one of the better glades I find down here with the fish. We're going to come back to that a little later, and we'll see that we can access it from the area that we've gone through to get access to that portcullis. So we came down the middle here, underneath this bridge. A little silver hidden away behind the windmill. Nice to have. Because I still have an iron axe, or pickaxe, it takes quite a few hits. 3 if you're getting perfects. to deal one of those nodes. But when you get the silver pickaxe, it's going to go down to 2. When you get this area fully unlocked, there's a plague ichor boss that shows up in this area. Ooh, really hurt here. 33 health. Gotta take a heal. There we go. Got one wolf down. It's like a little spawner thing, like a big blob, and it keeps spawning more and more. Super challenging fight to deal with, especially on this difficulty. These, see how my center circle, watch it build up green right now, the center circle near my character? So that is my stamina. So if that is 0, or like black all the way through, then I can't roll to dodge. But all your attacks use stamina. So you gotta really manage that and keep a little bit of stamina in the tank so that you can dodge an oncoming attack. Otherwise you just stand there and take it on the chin. You can see in the distance beyond my character, there's the Whisper for Windmill, where we started this episode. I'm going to take another one of these repair potions. It's just me fumbling through the menu, pressing the wrong shoulder and trigger buttons sometimes. There's some issues when you play a bunch of different games at once, and kind of forget how all the commands work for this specific one. So I end up hitting a few extra strokes that aren't necessary. Experience gained in a ring. And you can see that I have a spare ring slot open. My equipment load is 12 on the current one. And I always want to put the better one on, because that reduces the total weight of my equipment, which allows me to wear heavier equipment, which has more armor for the same weight. So you want to break that doorway to come in here. As soon as you come up this ladder, you're going to be in combat in a very tight space with somebody with a big axe. So just bear that in mind. You're going to start by rolling and watching their movement. While you're doing a roll, even if their weapon swings through you, you are sort of vulnerable mid-roll. But if you stand up, they're going to hit you. And it's excuse me, really timing based. So if you roll too early, you'll be standing there with no stamina, and they're going to hit you. Or even if you dodge too early, then you'll find especially projectiles will almost curve back towards you. So if they have extra time. So you do want to dodge kind of late. So walking on these tight ropes, I think it's important to walk where you can, run if you feel confident, but if you run towards an edge, you're going to jump off of it. But here you have to press A to kind of hop up those spaces. Some of these little side tight ropes are worth it, some of them are not. One wool garment for the risk of falling down there, I don't know. It's up to you. But for the sake of showing this video, I'm trying to go everywhere that I can and grab everything that I can. See the big dude on the right? We'll find our way up there. Another path, another way. This one, see how it's red? Attack stamina cost increased by 26%. So that's a plagued item. I tend to call that in games a Faustian bargain, as in something that gives something to you, but it also takes something away. I think a lot of inventory checks going on here, seeing if I can throw a flask or something down. They always throw these things at me. I never really use them much, so I figure I'd give it the old shot. But I think since I'm a ranged character, I'm probably better off just using my own weapon to do this stuff. Definitely don't want to die up here, because then I got to do that whole run around again. And I'm pretty close to being able to unlock the shortcut that'll make it easy to come back here again from the Whisper, which again is just forward through that portcullis. Watch him tick away down there. Is it going to be enough? No, it's not really ticking, is it? Get one more in on him. Finish the job. Just waiting for 20 focus to build up. Now I'm going to drop in to deal with the big guy. Nice to have a big open space when you only have one mob to deal with. Look at the reach on that arm on this particular mob type. They occasionally just stretch out huge distance to cover. So some of these, depending on your sort of weight class, it's probably in your best interest to dodge sideways instead of dodging front to back. So I just got the windmill key, which is huge, and we'll show where that goes in a moment. And I can pull this lever now to open the portcullis. So now I have a straight access from the Whisper that you can see in the back, and I'll show you where it goes down here. Just gonna grab this silver. It's right next to where we were before. So now we can get here, and that drops right into the main grove that was sitting behind us. So we walked to it from the left. We were just over there before we came around into this loop. But I want to show you the windmill next, now that we have the key to go in there. Super cool space. Just amazing the level of detail that they put in, and the, radiance of all these things, and the vibrance of the colors. Look down bottom right, that waterfall, and the view down to a different area, which we'll go down and explore at a different time. Used windmill key to unlock the door. Okay, so now we got to work our way through this room. Again, one of these guys with that one long arm. Look at the reach that suddenly has. It really stretches out away. Look at that. Just huge distance. So I'm really managing my distance. Ooh, level up to 21. Always exciting. I think we're going to do that right away. Let's see what we do here. Keep feeding that dexterity is always handy, and then it's going to be, what am I low on? If I have spare points, equipment load is going to bring my weight class down, which will eventually allow me to wear... The goal is to get to all mesh, which is the second heaviest armor, and still be in the normal category with this character. So if you're in the light category, your dodges are like dashes, they jump. If you're in the normal category, you'll see the dodges that I do on a regular basis. And if you're in the heavy category, you just do this super close by little combat roll and get back up, and it doesn't cover a lot of ground. So I've done a melee character in the heavy, and I've done a sort of caster mage character in the light. So for the sake of my own interest as well, this one's heavy and pure dex, for the sake of variety and seeing how the game plays differently with different capabilities. So now we're coming back out above where we were. Remember we walked under this structure to go in that walkway to the left to kick down the ladder that's above the initial boss fight that you do to come into Sacrament in the first place. But now we're walking on top of that whole structure, and we get to this huge chest. So just down and to the left of us is the Whisper for Windmill. And now if I notice it right there, bottom left, you see it yet? Wait for my character to move and check it out. I feel like I'm getting some dad gaming situations here where maybe a kid's coming up and asking me a question and I'm paused for a minute. But just at the bottom left there, you'll see a lever that we can hopefully pull, and that's going to make a big, make another area available to us. Here we go. So you see the big windmill move. Almost walked away from it. Easy to walk away from. When you're at the lever, it backs up so you can see what's going to happen, and it really just aligns these windmill blades so they can sit on top of there. That'll allow us to come up and get something later, and we'll come back and have a look at that. But first, since I already have this height, I'm going to walk across the tightrope and grab the little glowing tomato in this case. Super exciting. But hey, it's one of those things where if you keep picking up tomatoes and stuff as you go along, when you do need to make food, you're always going to have resources available, and you're not going to run out of food. So it's worth collecting as you go, and just getting in the habit of, oh, there's something to pick up, oh, there's something to pick up. Just build that into your game. Just went pure fire with that one. Very useful. If you go back to some of the initial episodes with this dexterity character, it's pretty wild to see how far we've come. Initially we were doing like 5s and 7s and stuff with no status effects, and now we're dropping pretty significant, like 92 up front, and then it's ticking for what? Look at those. Doing some pretty significant damage now with that bow. So this is now above the lumber mill in this higher area that we can get. Oh, not lumber mill, sorry. This higher area we can get to from the windmill. And that's just because we did the portcullis and got the windmill key. These you can just run and jump over, and it usually works pretty well. I happen to notice a glowing light over here, and there's no real way or need to come back here afterwards, so I'm going to grab it for the sake of saying, hey, we got everything. This is how you get it. Eversol Knight's armor, that's probably going to be plate, so not something I'm going to wear with this character. Some of those can be tricky to climb back up. Got to be careful, because if you're holding A and you move near an edge, your character will just jump off that edge. So you got to be a little bit meaningful about that, especially if you're near some edges. Is that a cut tree? No, it doesn't look like it. Worth a check. The tail on this one, or arm, or whatever that is. You know that's going to reach out and get you. Look at that. Again, the overload comes in super handy. Stack up 2-3 fires on them, and then splash them with the lightning. Standing in that purple stuff, you can see how much of my health it ate up really quickly. So we had some sneak peeks of this area when we were over in the Portcullis space, and now we're climbed up here because we did the route around the windmill first to get here. So it's not always, oh, we're right near here, we can get over to it. Often they tease an area that you can't get to until you do a bunch of other things first and do a really, like, roundabout way to get there. So I'm managing my focus and stamina and deciding when to roll, balancing that against the mob's movements. You don't want to get hitting a tree when you're in combat, because then you're stuck into these 3 hits and you have to come out and finish the whole tree before you can turn and fight. As far as I can tell, there's no way to sort of break away once you've engaged a tree. You can be cautious about that. Look, his little blade, his little pizza cutter is still spinning. Nice views down and to the right as well. Now, we looked when we first climbed up the sort of rook-looking castle piece to get to the portcullis. There was a jump to the left that we could not make from where we were standing. This is us coming around to the other side, so we do have access to that area. You can see there's a couple more mobs, top of screen and left of screen. So I'm going to try to grab them a couple at a time. There's 2 up top here. So I'm building up some fire on both, and then hoping that my lightning will hit both, so that AoE from one will feed the other, and AoE from the other will feed the one. Now, because they heal, I'm also focused on trying to burn one completely, so that they don't throw a heal in, so I can get one off the board, so I'm only getting hit by one. And if I keep just spreading the load out, then they can keep my heals and building back up. So there's more and less efficient ways to do these things. And then, of course, sneaking in some of your own healing when you can. Another silver vein. Double ore, always good. And we can see from up here down into that area. I would say you can drop down into that area from here, but you need the windmill key from down there to be able to get up here. So you do have to go down there first. Oh, that tail hit me from so far away. There's like a hand on it or something? I'm not sure. Strange creature. Part of the Risen, I imagine. So this is the other area of where that initial rook is. So this is where we can jump back over to see it. We can also drop into this space and look down on this platform, which we can climb up to from the right side of the glade down below. So incredible level design, really clever. Let's see if we can jump across here. Show you the difference. We do the old scramble, the vault. But we do manage the jump, but we can't jump in that direction. We'll end up falling back down. It's a little deceptive, but it is actually a different height, which makes a difference. It's not just the gap. So that cave is going to give us access to free up. There's a gate just to the right and down from where we are here. And that cave will give us access to that, but that's going to be in another episode, actually. We have other things to do. We're going to stick our nose in there, but you'll see what happens. I don't want to get too spoilery. So that windmill is where we started. We cleared that area. We went down towards the farm, like we have before, towards that windmill space that's up here. That bridge area you use twice. So you walk under it, and then you walk across it, and then you walk over it. So sorry, use it 3 times. Very clever use of assets. There's the tram that goes down. We went down around to the farm, around that side, and to the very bottom of that, you can sort of see where the drawbridge is going to come down. And then we peeked over here to this glade from that edge, but instead of staying there, we went back, climbed up and over that covered bridge, which allowed us to go up the Rook Tower. And from the top of that, we walked along the little tightrope and dropped down to open up the portcullis from the switch right there. We also got the windmill key from in that area, which allowed us to go up here into the windmill, climb through the inside, climb out, and hit the switch, which we haven't gone up to collect yet, which changes the orientation of the blades. And then we came out the top side of the windmill, collected that one up top, cleared this whole top area here, and then we've dropped back down into the right side of the glade that was just behind the little portcullis. So super cool the way they build these levels. Really innovative. Definitely something different than I've seen in most other games. Really bottom right, you can see another portcullis gate that is closed. So you got to go through that cave in order to open up that gate. This little bottom area, always worth sticking your nose into. There's lots of dig spots and trees, and there's a silver node. You're going to need so much of those, not just to upgrade the town, but also upgrade your equipment. And it is the reagent for building stuff. So you're going to want to be able to build, furniture pieces for your player housing and refineries and workbenches and things like that, and it all uses the same kind of materials. Even a bunch of chests if you want to make them. So we didn't get a chance to clear out this glade. I find bottom right, far left of screen, there's a mob standing in the woods there. I don't really know how to get over to them necessarily, but they will mess with you from there, so it's worth dealing with. Mainly stacking up fire, and then once you have fully stacked fire, that overload is an enormous splash. Does a ton of damage. Picked up some fish. Tier 3 fish is bass. I don't remember what all the other ones are all the time. But bass is the one we're working on now, and each of those little fish spots is that. But you got to look at the character to see the circle about when to hit the timing game. Whereas a lot of the other ones, well, I guess it's always in the same spot, but usually in a lot of fishing games, or fishing mini games within games, they'll make the little circle that tells you when your fishing is happening. It'll be sort of near where the lure is. So easy way up here to the top, climb up that tree. And there's another landing up here with some ore and things and chests. You could also just walk up the ramp to the left of my character from the farm area to get to this zone. Notice these 2 trees have life bars on them. The moment you enter a combat, you see that you've left a tree with a life bar from an AoE. That's a good sign that that tree is going to be one that you can cut down. See the wolf hidden in the building to my left on the other side of the wall, and a chest next to them. So they give you those little hints, and I don't think any part of that is accidental. This is all very deliberate. It's like, hey, can you find your way into this room? Hey, can you find your way into that room? And I give you those hints, and it's up to you to source them out. They often play with the camera angle that way and dangle like a little gold thing in front of you that's on a high place, and you got to figure out how to climb to it. So you can see the covered bridge in the background that we've used multiple times, and the farm to the left, just to reorient yourself and see how we've ended back up in the same area again, just from another path. Great way to just clear out the map area. Yeah, there we go. give you a reference point to it. So I'm going to climb back up here, clear out this area. There's a little structure in here, and that's going to give us access to where that wolf is. This door, watch, door is locked from the other side. This door here, watch what the tooltip says. Door is locked from the other side. So once we go through the lumber mill, I'm going to show you how to unlock those doors, and then both of those then become shortcuts to access those areas just from walking in this front entrance. So they really do create those payoffs, and those shortcuts that you create are permanent unlocks, so they stay with the character. I'm trying to target that archer on the upper level, but I'm going to have to deal with him from the inside. I don't think I can shoot up in that way. So I've just run into an inventory issue with reagents, which is a sign that I'm going to start running into inventory problems with some other categories as well. I try to set things up in these videos so that we typically start in town. So there's the gate, and then, you know, I'll walk you through a town setup, and then we're going to go out, do a full about hour-ish total video, adventure of some kind, and then come back to the town and do kind of a closeout so that we set ourselves up for success for the next session and for the next video. It doesn't always work out that way. So in this case, we started in the windmill outside of town, and we started with some stuff in our inventory already. So that's going to create a situation where we run out of inventory space before the video or the sort of hour is out. It makes for complicated content. I think it's sort of unideal in terms of the flow for these videos. Totally fine for a standard gaming session that you're playing the game. So I'm trying to use the elevation that I have up here to deal with these, but that circle lasts so long that it's not worth waiting out. And it's blocked the whole area, and I can't really get to them anymore. So this is where sometimes you just got to make that decision and jump down and get in the fray. If you're a melee character, then obviously you're going to jump much sooner. There we go. Got him. Dredge Knight Armor. See the silver over here. This cave is a good idea to use your personal rune for illumination on, because some of these caves get properly dark. Once those little balls aren't lit anymore, it's dark in here. So here we go. Use my illumination, and now I have a pretty decent view of what's going on. Lasts for a decent amount of time. You can see the buff in my just below my health bar, so it's the middle one of the three. Put a little spike on it. Okay, we're clearing out that node. Yeah, down here, the chest. So you could do this whole area without sort of dropping down or falling down into that space, but of course you'd be missing out on some of those chests and nodes and things. So if you want to get a complete run, sometimes you have to intentionally do something, like intentionally make a mistake kind of thing. Same with down here. I'm going to drop down in here, and actually if you look, there's 1, 2 resource, and around the back of this sloped piece, there's another silver node. Really racking up that silver from these runs. Just worth kind of checking all little corners and seeing where they let you walk in and what they let you do. Now we're going to climb up here. There's 2 mobs up top. Kind of tricked him on the ladder there. He came down as we came up. Got down to 1. That one's almost dead, but we fell off the edge. Now we're dealing with this guy. Health's a little low. This one's almost dead. We got him. That big circle again. Now we have a node over here. Gonna deal with while we're in combat, but I was sitting too close to that, and I didn't realize that I had 14 health left, and I got 1 tick from the green, from that circle. And that was enough to get me. So important, even if you're somewhat out of combat, take that heal right away. Bring yourself back up to capability. So it's going to spit you back out at whatever was the most recent whisper that you had. And it would be potentially prudent to go back at this point and deal with that cave. But there's a few sort of straggly bits that we haven't done because we were moving forward and progressing. So one is that we realigned the blades on this so that we can get up here. So it's worth now showing this one is really good. That small skull especially is huge. Those are fantastic gems that you can put on. Weapons and I believe armor as well. And then one of the larger chests here. Huge amount of loot. In fact, more than we can even pick up. So when you have a full inventory in a game when the purpose is to go out and gather things, I'm just getting rid of a plagued item because besides having negative debuffs, they also sell for less. So it's just maximizing your inventory rather than leaving a regular item behind. I'm going to leave my plagued item behind. See if I can safely drop down. I don't know what I stood on for that first drop for a second there. But sort of falling down to the bottom. You end up with a situation where you... like it's difficult to keep adventuring now because bags are full. So you don't want to really break into new territory and then not be able to pick anything up, especially from the gear side. So I am going to make a town run, even though we are, you know, let's see, we're 41 minutes into the video now, and we're kind of aiming for kind of an hour-ish. So I made a town run in the middle, and then in the process, I let this video run just a little bit longer so that I can have that different capability. So I'm going through and just activating all of these. This is another thing that doesn't automatically get done if you start your mission away from town, which is another negative, because especially the challenges, you can be racking those up unknowingly just doing combat.
These are my scissors. No, these are my scissors.
Resetting all these machines. At this stage, I don't have a lot of the resources or the refinery machines in my player housing, so I'm relying on the outside ones that are in these marketplace shops. Now, the reason I backed out here is I find I prefer the interface of perusing the items out, and then I can go in and sell once I've made my decisions about what I want to keep. So I'm just checking. Currently have cloth gloves, but you can see at the bottom I have quite a bit of reach to stay in the normal, and there's no reason to be in the normal category at the bottom of it. It's kind of like a boxing weight class or a fighting weight class or something like that, where if you're in a certain weight class, it's in your best interest to be at the top of that weight class. So it's no different here. If I'm going to be a normal anyways, you might as well have as much armor as you can possibly get away with and be in the normal category. And look at the amount of armor, how close I am in the normal now. 173, I bet you 175 or something like that is going to cross me over, or even one more pound might do the job. Just because I have, like, some of the items have, ooh, I weigh a little bit less and weigh a little bit more. And I have a ring that I believe is taking 12%, or giving me additional 12% equipment load. So there's all kinds of weird stacking percentages on top of each other, which is why my total is 291 and not like an even round number. So I'm not really going to do much better than that. I'm looking at the items that I can use. If they're fully blue, it means that they're purely dexterity, because I am almost pure dexterity. If they are blue with like a little bit of red at the bottom, that means they have some dexterity, but they also have another trait that they're asking for. And if they're fully red, it usually means that they're plague items, and they have that one buff and one debuff kind of thing. So I've made my decisions. So now I can pretty easily purge these. I think I'm probably gonna hold the ring. Sometimes I keep hold of those because they're a little bit more rare. But I'm already wearing a better one of the same type, and you can't wear two of the same type of ring. So like a weight loss ring, you can't wear a 6% and a 12%. So it's worth selling that one because I'm not going to be able to put it on.
About time you
Worth
paid
checking
up.
to see if I can upgrade my equipment. Even this new one I just put on, it's only level 9. Now it's 10. Iron ingot's going to do the rest if I need more. So worth checking. And then you do want to get your equipment up to level 13 is the current cap. But they've just recently announced in October of 2026 that the 1.0 of this will be out. So maybe we'll get a few more levels of that with there's at least one other area that they say is coming, and the story's going to expand, and there's going to be a bit more and maybe some more Crucible things to do. So we'll take a look at that 1.0 release when it comes out, but I'll try to get us we'll get there beforehand so that we're ready to go for it.
Some people ask how I can stand the ringing in my ears. Better.
He's got a lot of really good quips. He does one where he says, "May your will be half as strong as my steel." That's a wonderful line. Just real pride in his work. Love to see that in your smith. Worth checking Greenwich every time. He can have research papers. He can have gems that are worth buying. And sometimes he'll have rings like he has here. So we'll have a peek at that. Bomb damage. I don't really throw enough bombs to make that worth purchasing. But resource papers, especially if you're pretty flush with cash, worth buying, can really advance the game.
Warriors only as good as this weapon.
That's already loaded up with iron. Whitaker's going to be my main character to have weapons for me because of the bows are made of wood, and therefore it goes to the woodcrafter to have. But longbow I already have. Fungus I have played with before, and the other one is another version of my Siren's Call, but a little better. Birch fishing rod, that's the 3rd tier one, but I think I already have one. And then I always go down here and have a peek at these items. This is furniture that can go in your player housing, but the moment you have it in your inventory, you can then more easily buy more of them if you want to add them to your research papers. But you can also see some of these have comfort +1, comfort +2, so on and so forth. This lighting is a +2, worth having lots of those in your place. Carpets are a +1. So they really add to what you can do. Just gonna have a quick look at.
You cannot rush an oak.
On alert.
I see the glint of steel in your eyes.
Sarah?
Am I the only one?
These are my scissors? No, these are my scissors.
I'm not sure what all the... There's a bunch of categories for furniture items. And I seem to be perpetually missing a category. So I'm just seeing if I can decipher what that is. While I'm in the process here.
A man with untainted blood.
May your will be half as strong.
There you go. May your will be half as strong as my work. He said the line. He said the line.
I felt the aura of your approach, and I saw you coming.
Going through here, I'm applying gems to things. So I'm having a look at what I can put on my new armor and gloves that I put on. So the small skull you can see gives health regeneration. So that's what we just got from the top of the windmill. Health regen, especially because it's out of combat and in combat, constant ticking health regen is pretty amazing. Very useful thing to have, to just be able to start a combat with some health available without having to always eat out of combat to get there is very convenient. Weight reduction can be very helpful, especially on a heavy item like a chest piece. See, it costs 65 pounds, so it's based on percentage, right? So if you put 20% reduced on an item that weighs 10 pounds, then you're only saving 2 pounds. But if you put 20% on like a chest piece like we just did that has 65 pounds, 20% of 65 is 13. So you're saving 13 pounds, which is significant. So on a chest piece, especially because it's going to be the heaviest piece of your armor, it's worth a gem slot to get some weight reduction, especially if you can put a 20% one on. Focus cost reduction is there. See how we have gain for health? Focus gain increased is nice, but the focus gain increase is not focus regeneration. That's a different thing. Barrier gives you the first kind of hits that you take before you enter combat, so excellent to have. The ones that give you experience, my hesitation now is because we're at level 21, and this might end up being something we play with at endgame, and there's no real point in having experience gain on an endgame item, and you can't really take these gems off in like a meaningful way. So as you are approaching endgame, it's worth making sure that you gem slightly differently, whereas early game items, it doesn't really matter as much, and you can more easily gem them with the experience gain. I'm still trying to find the right sets of categories. I'm not having an easy time with it, unfortunately. So apologies if I'm somewhat distracted from the actual voiceover. You can see here we can upgrade Siren's Call, which is our kind of secondary bow. This lacquered bow is our main. Birch planks and torn sinew, so we're currently at level 12. Torn sinew, you're not going to get your hands on until you are in endgame and you are purging pestilence, which we will get to. You just got to wait out a few more episodes and a few more. We got to get through Marin Woods, and we got to get through the Lowland Meadows that we're working on right now.
Geez, how time you came back.
So now we can look again to see if we can upgrade the existing items. We can do those, and I think if we pan over to the, no, I guess not. Here we go. So I think lighting, seating, tables, carpets or rugs, beds, storage, crafting stations, and decorations, vases, books, flowers, statues. So we definitely have lighting. We have torches all over the place. Seating, we have benches and chairs, no question. Table, we have a couple of different tables in the Roost. We'll have to have a look and make sure. We definitely have a carpet. We definitely have a bed. That's a main focus.
Let's get to work.
Storage, cupboards, chests, wardrobes, we have that. Crafting stations, anvil, hearth, stove, and other refining implements. As long as the forge and stuff counts with that, but we have an anvil. So no, we have that. And then decoration, vases, books, flowers, and statues. I thought we had at least flowers. Maybe not. Let's have a look when we go to the housing. See if we can spot vases and flowers. Maybe help me out, and if you see something I don't. See how that was instanced when we did the upgrade? That's because we upgraded Danos, which is the guy that we're at, his architecture place. So now you can see, let's just do a little tour of, this is the Tier 3 architecture home. Really cool design, swoopy there on the way down. There's nothing to really interact with here, per se, but that plinth shows you the town itself, and in the background you can see some of the purchasable housing. So you can see the manor and the Roost and a couple different ones. So we've chosen the Roost, which I think fits the Archer well. We are going to run into storage capacity issues in there to try to get up to the highest level. These, it's always prudent to... it's kind of like focus firing when you're dealing with mobs. Like, see that salt stone? There's 4 or 5. So it's worth finishing that because we've started it. And now the new saltstone is going to be available to put somewhere new where I haven't put saltstone yet. So once you've, let's say, copper ore or iron ingot, you don't want to be like, oh, I put 3 iron ingots here and 2 there and 1 here and 1 on this one, because it's going to take you forever to get any one of them up to the 10. So really prioritize, and once you start feeding one resource type into one upgrade, finish that whole upgrade before you start feeding that resource type anywhere else.
So, what did you do at the mountain cave?
Wasn't doing bounties or things this time because we didn't have them activated, so we're not going to have a play kicker. So let's stick our head in the Roost. Let me know in comments and stuff if you see what I'm missing. There's a vase with flowers, there's a table, there's seating areas, there's a carpet. That's not a carpet. So we'll have to look for a carpet. Bed is upstairs. We have an anvil, so we definitely have crafting stations. Candles. Lighting includes torch stands, lanterns, iron braziers. There's an iron brazier. We have lighting. Seating. Stools, benches, chairs, thrones. We got. Tables. There's a table underneath the stairs right now. A little round table, just as you come in. I feel like we have all the categories. Unless one of them is, unless this little AI overview is not really the right answer. I can find a better source for this. Have a look. We might be currently missing a carpet, but we eventually do get one. Definitely eventually get one. Just see the table under the stairs? That's a table. So we have a table. Worth making food while you're in town. I find I eventually get to a point when you have like a proper cook stove that I leave most of my food reagents, like uncooked food, in a chest and just dump it off, and then only do my cooking in town and ignore the other fires, because the higher level food you can't make at a standard fire pit. You have to bring to a better cook station. This one I think it is, the mushroom and meat curry. That is the best item that rough cut meat can make. So I find you'll always be making that as a baseline. And then in this case I can make 14 of those, so that's prudent. I find there's ones where, like apple pie, and there's another apple related one. It's not really in your best interest to make both, because you end up wanting to save up your apples to make the more complicated one. Each of these boxes, once you open up with Y, you can press Y again to just dump off whatever you're holding that is already in that box. So they call it deposit similar. You can see the buttons at the bottom. So because I don't have any other plague ickers, I'm going to do this, what I was talking about. When I only have like onesies and twosies of something, I'm dropping them off, and I'll pick them up when I have more of the same type, because that just frees up more inventory space for me to pick up new food raw materials, especially. Wood goes in the wood pile. Do I go upstairs this time? Let's have a little peek here. Yeah, I don't understand what it keeps saying that I have 7 of 8 categories, and I really don't understand what category I'm missing. At one point I experimented with a larger table, and that didn't seem to do it either. Just checking what furnace type I have, because I have another one on me. Sturdy furnace and sturdy furnace, so they're both the same type. There's no sense currently in this footprint of having more than one of those, so I think I drop it off in the interest of clearing some space. Because you can see, once I step into the Roost, at the third one over, at the bottom on the left, you'll see down on the D-pad is to place an item. So we're increasing our comfort level right now. I'm going to put a bench down. Nice. A third elegant chair. I'm holding left trigger to lock it in a certain direction. I find without that it's nearly impossible to place anything. So here's definitely putting down a carpet, unquestionably. And there's another table there, and more flowers and lighting. So I really don't know what category I'm missing, but apparently I am missing a category. I'll read them out again. Please speak up if you can see what's missing here. So it should be lighting, seating, tables, carpets or rugs, beds, storage, crafting stations, and decorations. Those are the 8 categories. But you'll watch here, and I'll sit down for the buff. Categories 7 of 8. So I'm missing something in there, and I wonder if that's going to help the bonus if I do add that up. Yeah, let me know if you see it. I don't see it. I don't know what I'm missing. Definitely have all of those. And that feeds into the calculation for the bonus. Okay, so we've kind of done a town loop now. But we find ourselves at the kind of hour 20 mark, which is pretty late into this video. But I'm going out again. I just want to show you another little area before we wrap up this kind of longer video. Important to see what else is out there. I just feel like it's an area that if I don't deal with now, I'm going to forget to go back to and deal with. Unfortunately, as you can see, it's been too long, even just doing the loop and then going to town, and I now have repops. Great for getting more resources, not so great for having a contiguous video. So I think this is falls under the sort of lesson learned category in the interest of just telling the story. I'm going to run by these. But in the future, I think my plan is going to be to start and finish videos in the Roost. So that the whole time we're out, we have the buff, and we're starting with empty inventories so we don't run into this problem of needing to run out and do a town thing in the middle and kind of break up the flow of the storytelling of what's happening. But I hit the lever to bring the gondola up. And you can see it's making its way up from Orban Glades. So there's an area just down below, and this is, I think, a good time to deal with it. So what I'm going to do, this is kind of tricky and really easy to kill yourself accidentally on. So you come down on the tram, and this is also going to park the tram in the right place. Then you run off, and you end up landing down here. As far as I can tell, this is the only way to come down into this area. Neat that you can open chests just by shooting them. I don't know if that destroyed the items inside or if that just worked out for the benefit there. tried to roll over that because it kind of looks like there's a bit of a cave opening there, but I was not able to roll over, so the chest is clearly blocking the entrance. It's just a little illusion, I think. This whole tier, you just got to be carefully dropping down layer by layer to make sure you don't go down too far and fall, for one, or jump and miss out on a good bonus like that. Look, there's another small skull, which gives you health regen, we now know, from equipping my armor. So that door seems sealed. So I'm going to come around again to this inside part. See the guy down there? See if I can deal with him from up here. Lots of focus, so I'm just going to build up lots of fire charge, and you can see it's ticking for 18, hitting for quite hard hits as well. One inside the building, but now my focus is pretty drained, so I'm going to do a single fire and then spread the overload. I find the fire shots can shoot down more than my standard X sort of basic attacks. So sometimes you can shoot down with a focus shot that you can't hit with a regular shot. Just something to bear in mind. Lots of little tightrope spaces in this area. Gonna step out. Hidden chest in the back. Just sort of picking up the experience from that upper area. Big dude with a lot of reach down in a tight room. Better to deal with from the stairs if you can. Up to level 22 now. Really moving up in the world. Kind of chasing the mobs and not necessarily getting every corner of where I could have stuck my head in. I think there was a little side chamber from that last area. And possibly another leg to go out to that I didn't visit. So your journey may differ. See that purple stuff right inside the building. Nasty. I believe that's plague as well. Shooting through this lift or elevator. We'll see, we can see where that goes. Just a moment. Don't want to fall off of here because this is a long way to get here, and we need to kick down that ladder in the back to be able to re-access this area from down below in Northern Glade. So again, it just translates to another shortcut that we're creating. Important to kick the ladder down. There we go. And now that we've kicked it down, we can go down knowing that we can get back up. So do you recognize the space at the top from earlier missions, or maybe some of your own playthroughs? I'll swim over there just so you can see it. But this is the beach right by Saltborn Towers. So here you're coming up the opening beach where you fight like some pretty nasty mobs there, like the Abomination we fought down there and a few others on the beach. And then if we kept going left, we'd get to Saltborn Tower. And if we kept going right, we'd go up to the Black Trench. So that's what you'd normally have access to, the staircase that goes nowhere, but now that we've kicked down the ladder, we can come over from that area. So I do go back in, deal with this chest that was sort of clearly hidden behind there, but I was just dealing with combat at the time, so I didn't go after it. And I'll stick my nose to the end here and just get a vista, nice view out the side. You can see where that is. Coming down from the windmill. That same circuitous loop that we've been making, but instead of going across, we now drop down, and it's just next to the beach. We've seen both sides of it now. Pretty neat how these lands interconnect like that. So the tram can take us across, the ladder from the top of near where the Windmill Whisper is, and also this area can take us down. Super cool level design. And to show you where this lift brings you back up, and again we can park this at the top because there's a switch on the lift and there's a switch at the bottom, but no switch at the top to call it. So it's that gap fill, which is why there was always a hole right next to the tram drop that we kept easily falling into. Okay, so that's in the right configuration at the bottom. This is in the right configuration at the top. Both of those configurations allow you to easily access the transport from either direction. Now we have a few challenges and bounties and things available to us. But ultimately this video is running pretty long as it is. So I'm going to shut it down, drop off, and I know we just did a town loop, but we're going to do kind of a mini one to deal with, basically just to set ourselves up for success for the next round. Get our level up in, get some health. Always good to stack that from time to time. And build up the focus total. So now we're up to 175 with the buff. Could definitely use a few more plague ichors. Pad that out. You can see we have 2 more rune slots on our person that we can add. And we have, some mesh pants. Interesting, but it would cross over the line right now. So again, we haven't cleared everything between here and there, so we're gonna do like a bit of a run by because we don't need to. We have cleared them in the past. A little dangerous to jump off the top ropes there. There's a very narrow margin between a completely safe fall that does no damage to a fall that completely kills you. There's a very small window where the fall height is such that it will do damage but not kill you. So just don't be too brazen about how far you fall, because you can run into trouble in a hurry.
Trees are looking a bit ragged, I'd say. Time for a change.
It's a bit harsh, but I guess they are clothing makers. So in this case, it's super quick to do the town stuff because I've already done the bulk of it before I went out to do that last little section. But I think it was worth doing because in between episodes, it's easy to forget, hey, this one little area we haven't done. And there may be other areas and other zones that we haven't done in that way. And if you can think of some from other videos or from this video, there's zones or little spots that I haven't stuck my nose in that I haven't seen. Please throw it down in the comments and let me know. Because I am trying to demonstrate sort of here's where everything is in this game within reason. So I'm going to store that armor because that's the one I was wearing before. These, it's good to just purge some stuff that's sitting, and I'm going to drop off. I think I build the resource chest down below, and it's trying to drop off things that are fully refined. Because that's something you're not likely to find out on a mission, so it's worth picking those items, or dropping those items off in your player housing. So we'll end off this video here, so that in the next video we can get the buff from town. So thank you kindly for participating. You know, gratitude for your attention this far through the video. Really appreciate you coming along on the journey. And I hope you get a chance to play this game yourself. It's a good title. Have a good one.